Exploring different countries around the world is something that a lot of people would like to check off their bucket list. When making the decision to travel somewhere foreign, it's always within your best interest to inform yourself about that country. And if you plan to visit South Korea, then follow along. Maybe you'll learn something that is worth knowing and that you didn't know before. So, having lived in California my entire life, I've always dreamt about traveling the world and visiting different countries, South Korea being my number one country to visit. It's always been advised by various people to do your research before traveling somewhere unknown, so that's where we're going to start. So today I'm going to be informing you about South Korea's culture, as well as some top things to know before visiting. And I'm also going to be talking about South Korea's cuisine, their customs and traditions, as well as some top locations that would be wonderful to visit. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about South Korea is their amazing food. Now, I've tried some Korean dishes before, such as kimbap and Korean corn dogs. However, trying them authentically from their country of origin will always be a win. The experience of trying other foods, such as bulgogi, which is marinated meat grilled over charcoal, and samgyetang, which is a soup of stewed chicken with rice and ginseng, is going to be unmatched. And of course, we can't forget about Korea's most popular dish, which is kimchi. Even though many people consider it a side dish, it is a dish that almost the entire population of Korea eats. They eat it so much to the point where there's even a museum dedicated just to the dish in Seoul. And in order to try more authentic Korean food, my stomach would take me straight to Gwanjang Market, which is where all the food is authentically made by small business owners. It's like a market just with food everywhere, like cooked food. So when planning to travel somewhere, if you're not visiting for the food, then it's to visit their top locations. Korea has many fun things to do, and visiting their top tourist attractions would be my number one priority upon arriving. The first place on my list to visit would be Gyeongbokgung Palace. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. It's a historic museum built during the Joseon dynasty, and it was the first royal palace to be built ever in Korean history. And some other place that I really love to explore would be Jeju Island. It's a small island in Korea with lakes, waterfalls, and mountains. It's a very ethereal location to visit, and it would be nice to visit that island in order to explore the country's natural beauty. Now, it's been established that Korea is a beautiful country and that they are also known for their unique cultures and beliefs. For example, Korea has very different traditions when compared to America. However, I find their traditions to be really ancestral. For example, two of the most important holidays in South Korea is Lunar New Year and the Harvest Moon Festival, which is also known as Korean Thanksgiving. Traditional elements of these holidays would be preparing specific special foods, as well as wearing the hanbok, which is a traditional dress for the women. Now, something that I've noticed when it comes to countries in Asia is that physical touch as a way of greeting is exceedingly rare. Instead of shaking hands, Koreans opt for bowing, which is their traditional way of greeting in South Korea. In Korea, it can be uncomfortable for Koreans to be touched by someone unfamiliar or someone that they don't know. It's also viewed as something disrespectful. So knowing more about the country that I plan to visit one day has prepared me even more for the trip that I someday expect to make. Informing yourself about Korea before traveling there will facilitate your time there and will allow you to enjoy your time visiting top locations and trying their food. It's my wish to travel to Korea because, as I stated earlier, because of their food, their different local attractions, as well as their cultures and traditions. Now, I hope that you learned something worth knowing and that South Korea made it to your top list of countries that you like to someday visit.